This tutorial explains how administrators can create and edit student records and look up student information and grades. Go to Students, Edit Add, to create, update, and remove student records. Or it'll just say Edit if you don't have permission to add students. To select a student to edit, type their name or ID in the Find Student box and press Enter. Or click this triangle to list all students by grade level or other filters. Then click a student. Click here to see the previous or next student alphabetically by last name. Click Add Students to create a new student record. To add multiple students from a data file, click Import and follow the prompts. To add one student at a time, type in their first and last name. You can also add an ID number before or after their name. If no ID is added, a default ID number will be generated for them. Check Same Parents As to add siblings in the same family, but don't worry if you miss this step. Students will be linked automatically if they have the same parent information for at least one parent. Then click Add. On the next screen, you can fill in the rest of the student's information. Most of these fields are self-explanatory, so we'll just focus on a few. Assign the student's homeroom teacher here if needed, like if you're requiring homeroom teachers to log attendance. You can optionally group students by cohort too. The counselor and assistant principal fields must be filled out for the discipline referral system to work. The titles may be slightly different based on the titles used for your school. Click Bulk Edit to apply the same counselor to groups of students using filters. Parents and contacts are shown here. Click Add Contact to add additional guardians or emergency contacts. If both parents reside at the same address, simply fill in the address for the first contact and it will assume both parents share the same address. Otherwise, enter each unique address for each parent. Then, when report cards and other reports are printed, it will produce separate copies for each mailing address. Check Same as first column above if the student also resides at this address. Uncheck the box Allow Login and Email to block a parent from accessing their Jupyter portal. You can also disable login access for the student here. Private schools can also choose to withhold their grades, which prevents the student and their parents from seeing their total grades, but still lets them see homework and assignments. This is often used for families who have not paid their tuition. If the student has a sibling, you'll see them cross-referenced here. Your system administrator may create and customize additional student data fields at the bottom of the screen. We'll talk more about custom fields at the end of this tutorial. You can also check out our help guide to find out more about custom student and parent data fields. Select Delete Withdraw to delete or withdraw the student. Withdraw will unenroll the student from the school, but you will still be able to access their historical grade and attendance data. Delete will delete the entire student record for that year, including all of their data. This is permanent, so in most cases it's safer to withdraw instead. Purge is useful if you import a bad set of student data. This also permanently deletes all unused student records without affecting valid records. Finally, Withdraw All is a shortcut to withdraw any students who are not in any current classes. If the same student somehow ends up having two separate records, click Fix Dupes. That scans the database for records which have similar names and details. Then it shows you details about each student record so you can decide if they're supposed to be the same student and merge them together. Be very careful about this because if you accidentally merge two students, it will take you hours to fix it manually. Let's explore more screens in the Students menu, starting with Classes and Grades. Or it just says Classes if you don't have permission to view grades. This shows the students' classes for the current term. You can also see today's attendance. It highlights which period is currently in session, so it's easy to locate a student. You can use the menu at the top to change grading periods, or click Show Credits at the bottom to see a more detailed summary of grades for classes and associated GPA calculations. Click any class to see the assignments and additional academic information for that class. Go to Students, Contacts and Profile, to view contact information. It's basically a simplified read-only version of the information entered on the Edit Add screen. Next up is Students, Special Needs and Medical. Click Edit to enter special needs and medical information. Your admin can customize the student data fields shown at the top of this screen too. Below that, the information on the left-hand side is visible to teachers and admins, while information on the right-hand side is only visible to administrators. Neither is visible to students or parents. Now let's go to Students, Logins and Alerts. This shows login information and notification settings for a student and their parents. The top provides a summary of logins for the student and parent accounts. Depending on your permissions, you may be able to click Login to see exactly what the student or parent sees when they log in. Parents and students can reset their own passwords, but if you need to do it for them, click the Reset link. That changes their password to a random 4-character code which you can provide to them. Note that you cannot set a specific password for them. For privacy, they must do that themselves. You can set the language preference for each person here. This translates most information for them, including report cards, messages, and their portal. See our help guide for further information on translation options. You can also see the notification settings for each person. Normally, students and parents set their own preferences, but this lets you change settings for them. Note that due to cell carrier restrictions, you cannot opt in people for text messages. They must do that themselves. This bulk edit option lets you set up notifications for all parents and students at the school. This is recommended only at the beginning of the school year so that you do not overwrite their personal preferences. Finally, on Setup, Custom Fields, system admins can add, create, or customize additional student information fields for the student profile or for special needs and medical information. That's covered in a separate tutorial. At the bottom of this screen, you can enable or disable parents and students from changing their own contact information, and so on. That wraps up this tutorial. Please see our help guide for additional information.